Well, I don't know how long this vid is gonna be, right? I don't know how long I'll have before everyone else gets home, and I'm sure the algorithm will do its best to suppress my content, so it'll likely amass like 30 views in, 1 or 2 days, and then it'll just be capped off like that. I don't know. Maybe my thumbnails aren't very attractive or something. I might try using a better thumbnail for this one, but that depends. Life just keeps showing. Life just keeps showing me unwelcome surprises. I have 4 days off every week in theory. From school and stuff. And the last 3 days I spent in agony. Right. Most of the day my head hurt. Right. Yesterday was really bad. Whenever I coughed, my head hurt, and it was horrible. I wasn't really sleeping enough either, so that didn't help. And obviously, on Wednesday, so the day after tomorrow, I got to go back to school to do this really big and annoying project, lab work stuff, which I hate. And honestly, even if I was good at it and I knew what I was doing, I'd still despise the fucking thing. I tried asking for help for the other lab, but I guess people can smell when you're a loser, and they can see that you're clearly inferior to them, and they'll treat you like shit for it. Everybody else was just looking at me like I was dumb and my IQ was room temperature or something. They pretty much spat on me. Like, the thing with people in, Kanakistan is that they'll never openly say that, you're an idiot. Well, some of them do, but most of them won't openly say that you're an idiot or that they don't like you. They'll just stop talking to you or passive aggressively imply that, you need a new brain or something. That's what I hate about people here. They just lie to your face, all these social norms of, oh, how's your day? It's fine, it's good. It's like, come on, I don't actually care about your day, right? I'm asking because my boss told me to, right? And it's socially expected. And you probably are having a bad day, right? Because your car just broke down on the way here and you had to spend like an hour fixing it. But hey, again, social norms. You got to pretend like everything's all right. I mean, that's not exactly how it happens, but you know what I'm trying to say. And speaking of social norms, right? I saw this video recently about how, like, most of Western society is basically, like, individualistic, so, pretty selfish and complacent and not particularly innovative. And it's the rule of the majority, right? And obviously, as long as the majority is happy, the minority, right? So, you know, people who would have been brilliant inventors or leaders or whatever in the past, revolutionaries, you know, people who would have brought about like real change, for instance, right? A lot of the times they end up crushed because well, if it doesn't benefit everybody's agenda of consume, 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 and the whole bread and circuses thing, then it's basically like sacrilege. The other really shitty part is that my throat keeps getting really dry, like very easily. So I'm constantly coughing. So that's why I kind of sound like crap. I mean, there's just one thing compounding on top of the other, right? And obviously this creates competition, right? Because you want more than the other guy. You want more than the other guy. You want to be better than him. So on and so forth. So people don't really come together to do stuff like building the Coliseum, right, like they used to. I mean, even when people, for instance, in blue-collar and trades come together to build buildings, right? One, it's the same old shit we've seen 1,000 times. It's all just the variations of a box. And two, money, right? Most of those workers are working for a paycheck, right? So they can pay their bills or buy a better house or, get the latest car or some other shit, right? I mean, yeah, you have to work as a team for work, but at the end of the day, a lot of them, like beyond drinking at the bar together on Friday nights, they don't really care about each other. Again, it's about individualism and competition. And this is coming from someone who is rather selfish. In any case, In any case, it's also a very effective form of slavery, right? Because you're appealing to pleasure and, hijacking human survival mechanisms, which are pretty much based around minimizing pain. And if you can minimize pain and, bring a material benefit like a fun game or, I don't know, something that makes you feel good, I guess, then hey, nobody's going to complain and everybody's just going to play along with the game and vote for the parties that they let you, cast your ballot for, even though it's all the same fucking thing, backed by the same giant corporations. Bob's your uncle and life goes on. I mean, Mr. Orange Man has started a war in the Middle East and is causing gas prices to rise, and it's, not going to get any lower, right? And it's indirectly going to affect the prices of stuff like food, but hey, everybody just doesn't give a shit. Like, you could go around to some people and ask them, like, hey, you hear about that war over there? And they'll just look at you like you're from the planet Mars, and, it's just like, huh, what are you talking about? Like, that's the other thing. Modern people they forget real fast. I don't know. Modern man is so easy to manipulate. It's almost funny. And of course, as I was basically implying earlier, if you're like me and you don't fit the mold, then, well, again, that's basically sacrilege. Essentially, the modern religion has replaced God with two things, right? We used to have God or gods. Modern religion, right, modernity, you could say, the replacement is essentially conformity and consumption. That's really about it. Conform, so be like everybody else, and consume, so buy. If you don't want to do that shit, right? If you can't go through the necessary steps to get that, right? Get a job, get a car, get a house, or, even just get a job, get a car, right? One of the major ones is obviously make connections, be charismatic, right? Blah, blah, blah. Then, yeah, people will look down on you, right? They'll think you're stupid or just, I don't know, just crazy or something. I've heard this a lot too, right? Like, everybody's solution to rising prices is, oh, just get 2 jobs. Oh, just work 3 jobs. Or, oh, just go back to school, get a better degree, then you get a better job with higher pay. Okay, that just sounds to me like, hey, do this so maybe you'll get whipped 3 lashes less by the masters. That sounds like that's basically just extended servitude. I don't know, just it's like, really? You think that's going to work? I'm not saying it won't, but you realize that people in power don't care about us at all. And we've kept them there so long, it's gone to their heads. And they literally think they're gods. And they will do whatever they want. I mean, these people literally worship Satan. Like, we literally have pedophiles running the government. Or at the very least, heavily influencing governments. Especially in the Western Hemisphere. East, I don't know, don't care. Right? But oh yeah, the Super Bowl, hey, you want to go get drunk at the bar? Like recently here, St. Patrick's Day, the cops literally put up like metal fencing. They had a sniper at the top of a building. You want to know what the students did? They didn't care. They just went out to town and got drunk anyway, and it's just like, all right. So yeah, that's the world for you. As long as you keep the people happy and distracted, then they'll never do anything. I mean, the leadership hierarchy, right? When things really do go wrong, they're not going to tell you. Why would they? I mean, I don't entirely blame them. People now, we just panic and run around like headless chickens, and then that creates even more of a mess, and then, snowballing effect, and blah, blah, blah. So they'll leave us to fend for ourselves, and then, society breaks down, and everybody goes nuts, and all that jazz. We've basically traded security for freedom, and we will do it again, right? I mean, think about it. You cause a crisis, everybody panics, because nobody knows what to do without the system, right? Nobody knows how to live without being an obedient little serf, and then you come in and offer the solution, which is to make them even more of a serf than they already are. Everybody happily accepts because it's Ooh, safety, more pleasure. Yeah, what a world. What a world. And us losers will always be at the fucking bottom.